only took us 4 episodes to get into sweats. How are you feeling?
You know what? The jeans, the tight shirts, they weren't working for me. Standing, great. You know the standing jeans versus sitting jeans?
All my jeans are standing jeans. Not one is a sitting jean.
I thought I had multiple sitting jeans. And then when I actually sat, it's like when I go to a party, I'm not staring at myself in a mirror sitting in those jeans. But when we come here, there's a camera, and I'm like, oh, that's what I look like. Fun.
Fun. Well, now that we're comfortable, should we get started?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. How exciting. Book 2.
Yes. Book 2. Hey guys, welcome to Shelf Sisters. We're so excited. This was such a departure from Funny Story.
I am thrilled. I cannot tell you how excited I was to even start this book because some of our listeners actually said they've read this before. They were obsessed, and so I had high hopes again for our second book club, and it delivered. There's
so much to talk about. Like, this book gave us content after content. There's just so many things that went on, and I think with a romance, like, to me, it was a really good book, but how much...
To me, it was such a dud.
Okay, well, how much can you really say? Even if you loved it, I guess there's not that much, but... True. This book, I'm almost worried because there's so much to say that I don't know, like, if we're going to get through everything.
Okay, well, this can't be like a 3-hour episode. We're not like Joe Rogan here, so we gotta get to it.
One day.
One day. We're only a month in and we're like, one day.
One day we'll be interviewing the girl who escaped North Korea.
Oh my gosh, okay, all right. We're gonna get there. You're right.
Her book. She wrote a book. Okay, so wait. We should say the book because I don't think we've said it yet. But it's The Heiress by Rachel Hawkins. And shout out Rachel. Thank you.
Shout out. Wow.
It was a great time reading this book. But we're going to give you a summary. So if you have read it, it'll be a refresher for you. If you haven't, then you can know like exactly what we're talking about as we go along.
But before we even get started, I think we need to give some author acknowledgments because on our Instagram, this is so
I'm clapping
exciting.
For us. If you're watching on YouTube,
honestly,
I'm clapping.
Snaps for us because this is, people won't understand how exciting this is, but to the both of us, we were in shock. Like, we are on high alert for any authors or just like any readers that are so excited that we are recapping books that we're truly on high alert. And when we saw this, we were in shock.
We were giggling, kicking our feet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, that's so exciting. Well, we want to shout out Crystal Smith Paul for following us on Instagram.
The author of...
Did you hear about Kitty Carr? You guys, this was one of the recommendations that I gave on the podcast as well as on our Instagram page for a fall book. And honestly, if you liked The Heiress and you read along with us, you will love Did You Hear About Kitty Carr by Crystal Smith Paul. And honestly, shout out for following us on Instagram. And
I was shooketh.
Shooketh.
And she's like a substance author.
Oh my God.
I mean, not that it matters, right? But I was just like, oh my God, someone like so smart and like beautiful and just amazing followed us. Like, you know what I mean?
She wrote a book that really is so phenomenal, and now I think it needs to be at the top of your list to read.
100%.
And it is the perfect fall read, and so I'm hoping that we get some feedback from other readers that
it was already on my list, but now it's definitely bumped up.
Yep. It's at the top.
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
And then the other author.
Oh yeah.
Of Given Our History. I mentioned that book that's on my fall TBR.
Yes.
And I saw the cover of it. It was a beautiful fall cover.
I know.
And I was just, I think I just found it on Google or something. And it just looked really awesome. And she liked and commented.
Yes.
And it was so sweet.
That's so sweet. And Kristyn Miller, we really appreciate you. And
shout out Kristyn Miller.
Yes, and we're both going to be reading the book. And I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, well, honestly, Sonia, 4 weeks in, and this is great progress. So I'm proud of us. And thank you guys all for following along, reading along with us. And even if you're not reading, thank you for your support because it truly doesn't go unnoticed.
Yep.
Yeah? Okay. All right.
Great way to put it.
Yeah. Okay. And also, since we did author acknowledgments, I want to acknowledge some of our readers that are reading along with us with the book club, and then also taking our recommendations, and then also giving us recommendations. There's 2 books that we posted on our autumn reads post, and mine was from a friend of mine and someone who I think this is actually the first recommendation that I'm taking from her, so I'm super excited. And then also
which one was that book?
Let me confirm.
Okay, I'll talk about mine. So one of my friends recommended I think it's called The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. Yes. And I have seen that book everywhere since last fall. And then this fall, a lot of people are rereading it.
Oh, that's
because
good.
they said that the
it's like a Halloween
vibes.
Book?
Yeah, and just the like autumnal like vibes of it and
like
the
setting
setting
is perfect.
Yeah, and the way that the author describes everything, it's just like a really nice fall October read. Yeah. So I'm so excited, and yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna have time to like read all of these books, so I need to get on it.
Well, the one that was mine is Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter, and this was actually on my list, on my Goodreads list to read. And when my friend mentioned it, I was like, oh my gosh, you're so right. This is perfect for this time of the year, this season. So that's when I added to the list. So we appreciate y'all's recs, and we will take them and we'll report back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have anything to report back from the fall recommendations that you posted last time?
No, this book for some reason took me so long to read.
The Heiress?
Yeah, and it was just because I kept putting it on at night. And I have had so many like technical difficulties, let me tell you, okay? So
wait, while reading?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you have a Kindle, and if you don't and you're a reader, like please get one. It will change your entire life, okay? I know physical books are so amazing, but please trust us, get a Kindle. So I have a Kindle, and if you've seen those like TikTok setups for your Kindle, there's a holder that you buy, and then there's a clicker with a sensor. And so if you're like cozied up under your blanket, you don't have to continuously get your arm out to keep pressing like the button to go to the next page. Yeah, you just have the clicker in your hand under the covers, and it's beautiful, okay?
Under the covers, okay.
Yes. All right. And so that clicker, every night I read, every morning I wake up and there's a poke somewhere, like by my side, my stomach somewhere, and it's the clicker, and I always grab it and I put it in on my nightstand the next morning. Okay. And then one morning I wake up and I don't realize it, but like I don't feel a poke, okay?
Oh, so you're like, where's this clicker?
And no, I didn't even notice it. Okay. And then the next day, I remember I was sick. I just wanted to like stay in bed and read. Yeah. I'm looking for my clicker, nowhere to be found. Okay. I look everywhere. My husband comes home. He looks everywhere. He was nice enough. He literally took the duvet off, the sheets, the mattress off. He moved the headboard. Like, it was crazy.
I thought he was so against the Kindle and your reading habit, so this is very shocking.
He talks a lot of crap, but at the end of the day, he's there for me, you know? But he was looking, and he didn't even find it. And Sarah Schmeich, please.
Oh, yes. Sorry. Well,
we're still amateurs.
So it's okay. I'm truly amateur.
Yeah. Okay, so that happened, and then while I was reading The Heiress, I ordered another clicker. Obviously, it never turned up. And I ordered, another clicker, charged it, and I'm reading, and it's like at a really good part of The Heiress, okay? And it's like 2 a.m. at this point. Clicker stops working. And I'm literally charging this at 2 a.m. just thinking, like, how did I get here? Like, why can't I go to sleep? This is insane. And that happened, and then yesterday I was trying to finish it on the couch, like with no outlets near me. My Kindle's dying. I just kept on having these problems, and I kept trying to read at night, and then I would pass out after 5% of the book. So
okay, well, let me tell you, I did not have any of those technical difficulties, and I read it in 2 sittings, I would say, I think. Yeah, 2 sittings.
Oh my God.
It was
literally
so
2 versus 20 for me. I'm not even kidding.
Honestly, sometimes I feel like that. It's fine.
You're right.
You're right. You're right. You know? Yeah. All right, so should we get started? Do you want to give everyone a summary? Even if you did not read this book, I think you are going to be intrigued by this story. How many twists and turns there truly were. I could barely keep up. I don't know if you could, but I was like, wait, what happened here? Like it was a lot. So I want you to give us a summary and then we'll get into it. Does that sound like a plan?
Yeah. Okay. So we decided to do the summary in two parts. Yeah. So one is setting the scene and just giving like the basic details that you need to know.
Yes.
And then the second part is every single plot twist that was in this book. Because when I tell you it hit 70%, and like the author, Rachel didn't want to stop. Okay.
No.
She was like,
and oh, you're calm now? Let me bring this in. Let me bring that in. So that was wow.
So crazy. So there's a lot of them, but this is setting the scene.
Okay. Got it.
I don't know why I'm like nervous to read the summary that we wrote.
Okay.
The Heiress chronicles the destructive, sometimes murderous, pursuit of the wealthy and prominent family, the McTavishes, to keep their familial estate and home, Ashby House. Residing in front of a dangerous stretch of woods home to many deaths, Ashby House housed all McTavish family members throughout their life. The dad, the mom, the two daughters, Ruby and Nell, Nell's son and grandkids, Howell, Libby, and Ben, and then Ruby's adopted son, Camden. The three main characters were our narrators, Camden, Jules, who's Camden's wife, and Ruby's, hers throughout letters she wrote to Camden while alive. Ruby lived a wild life. She had been abducted during childhood in the woods behind Ashby House and returned to her family 8 months later. She went on to marry 4 times, all husbands dying prematurely while married to her. Turns out she did kill them all. And when she died, she left all of the estate, aka money, business, and stocks, to Camden, but also the actual estate, Ashby House. Camden never wanted the money or prestige. He wanted to get away from this family that was so awful to him just because he was adopted. But he had to go back to settle the estate, and that's when all hell broke loose. All hell broke loose, girl.
No, and it didn't stop.
It did not stop. So basically, this family, the McTavishes, I really hope we're pronouncing that correctly.
It's okay if we're not.
They were really after like a pure bloodline. That's really what they cared about.
Gosh.
And
the heritage was like truly the most important thing to them.
The heritage. They hated that he was adopted, and they were like, this person is not part of our family. Yep. He should not have any of the estate. Like, it should be left to the pure McTavishes, okay?
Exactly.
And that's where the problems arose, because he was given, all of this wealth from his mom, Ruby, and they hated that. They wanted it. They wanted the home. And so throughout the book, they were trying to get it back from him.
Yes.
So this brings us to our first plot twist, okay? Ruby was not actually Ruby McTavish. So, like we said, she was abducted, and she was abducted in the woods behind the Ashby House.
Yeah, she was trying to follow her nanny, the housekeeper, and her mom was like, oh yeah, like go find her. And she just kept walking. That's what she said. Yeah, she just kept walking. She was taken away, and then...
So what they thought happened was that this man abducted Ruby, kept her in his home for 8 months, and then they found her and brought her back to the family. What actually ended up happening was they did lose their daughter Ruby to these woods, baby Ruby. However, they did not actually find her. They bought another daughter from someone that looked like theirs and brought her into their home. And the reason this was such a plot twist was because they now said, like, Ruby was not actually a McTavish to give you all of the wealth. And okay, that was the first plot twist.
No,
I guess let's go through all of them.
Okay.
Or do you want to talk about each of them as we talk about
I think this one I saw coming pretty close to like when...
Same.
Yeah, like you could see that she wasn't going to be a McTavish, but it's not something I don't know.
Should I go through the others?
There's so many. Yes.
There's a lot.
Yes,
Okay, that's why I'm like, should I read all of them and then we can talk about it?
Yeah, I think go for it.
Okay.
And honestly, spoiler alert. Like, we shouldn't have said that.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many spoilers.
Okay.
We're sorry. But we hope you enjoy.
Yeah. And then the next plot twist, it's connected to the one that we just said, but we did say it in our summary. Ruby did murder all of her husbands. And it's connected because she kept saying throughout the book, because she was like killing everyone, she was like, I feel I have something haunted within me. I think I get it from something else, like not my family. I don't know if I'm like really part of this bloodline, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And then, so throughout the book, like we said, Ruby was writing letters to who we thought was Camden, her son. Turns out she was actually writing letters to Camden's wife, Jules, and until then, there was no connection to them. But turns out that that Jules and Ruby had a plan behind Camden's back to get them together, and have them, fall in love and get married. And that was because the family that Ruby was bought from, Ruby wanted to pay them back because she felt bad that she ended up growing up within this like wealthy, prominent family, and her family that she was bought from, I mean, they sold their daughters, so they obviously didn't have a ton of means. So she was like, if that's
my form of repayment, like to this family.
Yeah, so if she marries my son, like he'll get the estate, and so shall she,
Exactly.
And then Jules never told Camden this truth.
Until the very end.
No, she never told him, Sarah.
No, I know, and I'm saying till the very end.
I was like, what book did we read? No,
Did you finish the book? No.
Yeah.
Till the very end, he says, I hope that she tells me someday.
Well, that's the plot twist that even though she never told him, he knew.
Oh my gosh, yes, another twist.
Yeah, he hired a private detective because she kept apparently saying details that she wasn't supposed to know yet. So she knew the name of his soccer team from middle school, and he was like, I didn't tell you that. And so he hired a private detective and found out that, she was related to Ruby's real family, and just like clicked all of the pieces in his brain, and, and then Camden throughout the book was described as a really sweet boy by both his mom and his wife. He was normal, nice, and in the book
didn't want anything to do with the wealth, the estate.
Yeah, and that was because the McTavishes were like a really rude, abusive family, and like Howell beat his wife. Ben physically hurt Camden, and they were just not good people. They would literally lie, cheat, sometimes murder to get the wealth.
Exactly.
Like he didn't want to be like
associated with them at all.
And so the plot twist with that was that Camden also ended up being a murderer. He murdered his mother.
Okay, well, yeah.
Are you going to defend him?
No, I'm not defending him. I'm just saying it started off that way, where Ruby was testing him to see truly if he was the nice kid that she raised. And
she took pills and said, you can, like, if you're actually who I think you are, call the ambulance. You can save me.
Yes. And he was like, I'm going to let you just like sit there and suffer for a little bit. And that just proved to him like he was turning out to be one of them.
But not only that, do you remember, like, he hated the noises that she was making, so he grabbed the pillow and suffocated her.
Okay,
so it wasn't,
I kind of blocked that out.
So it wasn't even that she took the pills and like killed herself.
He had,
he physically grabbed a pillow to suffocate his mother. So he ended up being a murderer. That was, another plot twist.
Oh, there's so many. Like, I'm still trying to think, like, what else was happening. It was a lot.
There's two more.
Oh, there's two more. Okay, two more.
So the other one is that Jules also ended up being a murderer. I feel like we're just like beating a dead horse with this murder thing.
But this is like hers, the very end, yes.
Yeah, and hers started out being in self-defense because Ben had hit her with a paperweight at the back of her head. That can literally kill someone.
Right.
So he like striked first, and then she striked him in self-defense, but ended up killing him. Well, she ended up killing him, and to hide her murder, she decided to burn the house down. And while she was doing that, she didn't realize that Libby, Ben's sister, was sleeping upstairs and had taken an Ambien, and so she unknowingly killed someone else.
As well,
and I think just part of that plot twist is that she felt no remorse. And also at that point, her husband Camden had told her, hey, I murdered my mom.
Yeah.
So you would think she would feel okay enough to tell him, hey, I murdered someone too.
Well, I think he saw it. Like, there was one part in the book, I don't know if I highlighted it, I can go back to it, where he was like, I saw it. Like, she was one of us or something like that.
Yeah. And then the last plot twist is that, so before I say this, I just want to say the adult Ruby was hypothesizing about baby Ruby's death and how she probably walked into the woods looking for her nanny and just kept going deeper and deeper. And they had these trails that would end in really steep drop-offs. And she probably just like took a step too far, fell, or encountered a mountain lion or a bear. So it was... and just like whimpering as she's like looking for, either her nanny or her mom or some adult. And that was like a really sad part for me because I didn't want to imagine baby Ruby dying like that. But the plot twist was that Jules ended up finding this newspaper clipping that adult Ruby had saved. And at first she was looking at it really confused as to what it was. And it was a parade for like a pageant girl or something. And there were all of these people, like bystanders, just like watching the parade. And then as she looked closer, she realized that there was a girl there with her mom. And the girl looked exactly like Nell, who is part of the pure McTavish bloodline.
Yeah.
And the older woman she was describing her as someone who could have been a nanny, like with the like tied hairstyle and things like that. And so it basically implied that baby Ruby possibly didn't die in the woods and that her nanny, who was named Grace, probably loved her so much and realized how crazy this family was and wanted, like, this little girl that she loves so much, she probably wanted to protect her. And save her from the family, and possibly took the kid to get her out of it and raise her as her own. And the timelines of that day when they had lost baby Ruby added up because they said that the nanny, whenever she was like getting lost, the nanny was packing up the picnic and packing it into her car. And so it could have been that she was at the car, so she could have taken baby Ruby, put her in the car, and probably said like, stay here, I'll be right back. And they said that after baby Ruby disappeared, the nanny also disappeared after just a few days. So it could have been really easy for her to take baby Ruby and just leave with her and was never found again.
With that was like, they were so powerful, they could have found that nanny anywhere.
But what if she changed her name? And at then it was 1943. It's not.
No, it was
they don't
the
have
60s.
No, she was kidnapped in 1943 or lost in 1943. There's no internet, no social media. They don't know anything. You can easily change your name. They would have no idea where she could go.
Yeah, she could have just like changed her appearance too after a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
She would have never been found.
Okay, got it. Wow, I just want to say I'm so comfortable sitting down in these sweats.
No, it's so amazing.
It's nice, and the air conditioning just went on, and I realized I will not be cold today because I'm in sweats.
Yeah. Let's see how we dress next time. I don't know if we're going to end up back in jeans, but anyway, wait. Speaking of clothing, I just want to talk about Ruby and her talking about Dior gowns, sitting for a portrait, and a Dior gown that she made, by the way. She said, I went and designed this at the store, and it's one of my favorites. I was like, okay, Ruby. And she murdered her 4th husband in a Poochie dress.
Insane. And the fact that, and then when she went to go see her sister in, I forget the town.
Vanderbilt jeans.
Yeah, she was like, I tried not to come in full Chanel. And then at the end, she's like, oh crap, just realized my sunglasses are also Chanel.
She's like, God damn it.
I could not stop laughing. Her narration of this book, truly the best. Like, you could see how sarcastic she was, the dark humor that she had. I loved it all. And me and Sonia both highlighted the exact same line in the book. And I actually don't know how to get to my highlights.
I'll find it.
But Sonia will find it. That was one of the first few highlights that I did. And it was her killing her first husband. And
I found it.
You found it?
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to say it?
It's just so her, because she's
so her.
Obviously a murderer, right? And that's like really dark, but she just makes you laugh with the crazy things that she says.
I know, and I was reading and could not understand why I just like giggled at things that were so dark. I'm like, am I twisted? Or is she twisted? I'm just laughing at her. I couldn't decide.
Okay, ready?
Yes.
Okay, this is when she was killing her first
husband. And this
husband.
was super early in the book, but even in like the first like 5-10% of the book, you could just understand her humor from that point.
Yeah. Okay.
Go for it.
I pulled the trigger. I only wanted to scare him. I didn't even think the gun was loaded. And there I go, giving you lies when I promised truth. Oh my God! Let me try again.
Let me try to be honest this time around.
Yeah, I loved her.
I really did like her.
Yeah.
She had spunk.
She did have spunk. I will say, one of the things where I was just like, was her actually murdering all 4 husbands.
Yeah, especially like the last 2. Like, man, why? That's not necessary.
Yeah. But to me, it really, I know the book is just not even close, but 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo.
Oh my gosh, we need to stop. Our brains need to stop syncing up at the exact same time, because I was like, Sonia, did this give you Evelyn Hugo? Like,
yeah, because in that title, you're like, oh my God, she got married 7 times, and then you find out what it was, and then it ended up being totally different. But in this book, it was the opposite. The description said she had 4 husbands that died prematurely, and that it ended up being because she killed them. Like, that's, what you would think, and that's what happened. So it was different than 7 husbands in that way. But to me, like, I just wish maybe that there hadn't been 4, because in the middle, I was like, okay, again. And I was really happy when she would just cut herself off and say, I don't really want to give this guy any more of my time, which is so crazy to say. You murdered this man. But okay. And she would be like, I don't want to talk about him anymore, but yeah, just know that I murdered him. I was like, okay, thank you, though. Like, I don't want to hear about
commentary.
It. Yeah.
No, I agree. I think I did get the vibe, like at the very beginning, that this was going to give me Evelyn Hugo, but I did not love Evelyn Hugo, so I think I just tried to like block that out of my memory while I was reading the Heiress, because I was truly enjoying this book.
I didn't love it either.
I
thought you loved it.
No, I didn't love it. I think it was a time and place, like during COVID, when everyone was reading it, and I was like, okay, this is all right. But is it as great as everyone's saying? Is it worth the hype? No, I don't think so.
But back to our book.
That was such a great read.
So do you want to give your overall thoughts? And
yeah, I want to give my overall thoughts. I could not keep up with all the twists and the turns, and I was honestly getting lost with how fast she was coming at it with these twists. Like, it would be a twist, and then 2% later, it's another. Sorry, I'm speaking in percentages because I read on my Kindle as well. But 2% later, it would be another twist, and I'm like, oh my god, I just am like recovering from that first hit that I'm like now being like tossed again. But aside from that and how like fast paced it was, I think it was well done because I loved the 3 different perspectives in the narration. I loved hearing it from Jules's perspective. I loved hearing it from Camden, even though the Camden parts were a little too boring because it didn't seem like he had too much personality. When you compare him to Jules and Ruby, also, by the way, I love the name Ruby.
Love.
So good.
So cute.
So good.
When
they said her ring, the ruby ring, remember when her first husband, she compared her ring from the first husband and to the next one, and she was like, it wasn't as grand or something like that. I was like, all right, so you're comparing the husbands. No, I loved the 3-sided narration. Camden, I have like mixed thoughts about Camden. I feel like he took so much as a kid that I think obviously when you're an adult, like you want to be standoffish because no one has treated you properly like your entire life. From your foster home to then coming into the McTavish's like home and to Ashby House. So I could like see that. And I think his personality was finally coming out at the very end after Jules had killed Ben and what was her name?
Libby.
I could, in the last like 3% of the book, I was like, oh, this guy's fun. Like, you know, it finally came out of him. So it was just like the torture of this family that he was adopted into that made him that person. So, love the narration. The twists were a little too fast, hitting a little too much, honestly. But such a great read and such a departure from our last pick. And I think this kind of gets our brains like turning into this new season of like books and reading more of a thriller. Like this was super light thriller, even though it was 4 murders. But we're moving
super light.
Yeah,
there were murders
I know, but it wasn't as anxiety inducing for me. Like I think Ruby making fun of her murders.
We're like, so alike yet so different.
Exactly. But so her making light of the murders and everything that was happening, I was like, this is their life, right? Like everyone has different circumstances, and this is what was given to them, so that's how they're acting. Bizarre, of course, but I didn't think it was that dark. Okay. Wow, Sonia's staring at me like I'm psycho. But okay, from that brief overview of my thoughts, what do you think I rated the book?
I think you gave it a 5 stars.
I gave it a 5 stars.
I knew it.
Okay, I gave it a 5 stars on Goodreads. In my personal rating, I gave it a 4.5. Like we discussed last time, Goodreads rating is a little bit different than your own personal rating.
For us, some people...
people are ruthless like that?
Yeah.
All right. Or they're a little too generous, I don't know. But...
That's me.
That's Sonia. She's like, 5 out of 5 for everything. Yeah. No, please don't. So 4.5 for my personal rating, only because it felt like she wanted to put all these twists and turns into this book, but she didn't let like each twist kind of ruminate in your thoughts in the writing. And I feel like they were so good, and she could have done it a little bit more justice, Rachel Hawkins, if she gave it a little bit more time and made it a little bit more digestible with each twist.
Love.
And that was one of the feedback actually that we got from one of our readers who's reading along with us. She said that she finished last week, so she was ahead of us.
Yeah.
But that was one of her thoughts, that it went by way too quickly, and the author could have taken a little bit more time to give us a moment to actually digest whatever we just read in this twist. You know?
I think she wanted more of Ruby's background and more about Jules.
Yes.
Later on in the book. Which makes sense. Like they had more
of
an interesting
motive,
story.
Right? Yeah, they had an interesting story. We understood their motive, but it wasn't like we really got to know the person behind all of the doings. So, yeah, those were my thoughts, and you're laughing because I feel like you're about to rip this book apart.
No. I liked it. It was a good, solid thriller for me. I have so many thoughts. This is not a
thriller, Sonia. This is...
What is it?
I think it's like a domestic, like...
Thriller.
It's thriller. Okay. I said this whenever we announced that this was going to be our pick last time, and I was like, oh, it's a domestic thriller. And then I was reading it, and I was like, this is not a thriller. I mischaracterized it, but I guess you're saying that it is. So we'll leave it at that. I'm going to try to think of a word for it while you're giving your
It's not a horror, for sure.
No, not a horror. I'm saying it's like one step down from a thriller.
So like I totally disagree. This was 100% a thriller.
Were you scared? Were you like...
But thriller isn't about, like, were you scared or not. Thriller is where things like this are happening. There's murders,
let me
there's
try to find
twists.
Another word that is a little bit less than a thriller.
Okay, so my thoughts, I have so many. I literally don't know where to start. But overall, I did like this thriller. It was a solid read for me. But just, like, the few things that I didn't love, I guess it was the middle part. I remember it was like 40 to 50% where like nothing was really happening. I think they were setting the scene for all of these plot twists to come our way because for all of these to hit, we needed the backstory, right?
Yes.
So I totally got that, but I wish the plot twists were spread out a bit more.
No, exactly.
Yeah, I feel like it was just like setting the scene and like day after day, nothing really happening, hinting at things, but like not getting there. And then bam, it hit 70% and it was like
one hit after the next.
Yeah. Yes. I don't know why this episode I'm just like
the snaps.
The snaps when I've never snapped in my life. Yeah, so I think it could have been like paced a little bit better. And the content I mostly loved. I love when it's like a familial estate, like not only the money, but when there's an actual estate, like a house. I just love that, where it's been like the perfect couple. It's been in their generations or in their family for multiple generations. And there's a lot of stake in it. So that part I loved. I totally understood, you know, the people that like wanted to have it. Like I understood their part. I understood Camden not wanting it, and I thought that was very, like, what's the word, like admirable, because he made a life for himself. He became a teacher. He didn't need the money, and he even said when, you know, the other family was like thinking about suing him, he was like, you can sue me like for all of this money, and like it's not going to affect my life because I'm good. I've made a life for myself. I'm happy.
A life that I enjoy.
Yeah, and so I really liked that. But just the Ruby part specifically, where she murdered each husband. The first one, I could understand. He was abusive to her. She was really scared.
And then that part, it was like self-defense, like kind of.
But like I
don't
got
know why
it.
I just did a shoulder shrug. Like it's not that.
You're like really hardcore defending her.
I'm not. I'm just.
Serish wants rubies.
Yeah, I want her rubies, but that's about it.
You can't get them. But the second husband, she murdered him just because he was boring. Like,
I felt so bad for this poor man.
The third husband, she really loved him. He really loved her, but she like didn't want to leave him. She thought that would have been more heartbreaking than poisoning him for a whole year.
She told him about all the murders.
No, but she said that he would never tell anyone. I could have let him go.
I know, yeah. And she was like, there's something in me that really requires me to murder one of my husbands. That's
what I'm saying. It was really dumb.
No,
and then
so dumb.
The last husband, he was like a gambling addict or something. Or no, he was a drug addict. And she just like didn't want to deal with that, so she murdered him. And I think for me, like whenever it's a thriller, I like it to be a little bit realistic. When she just kept murdering her husbands and getting away with it, I was like, okay, like this isn't fun anymore. Yeah, it just wasn't enjoyable because I was like, that's just not something that would ever happen.
Right.
And like if it happened once, okay, but it happened 4 times in a row, and I was kind of getting sick of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And although I do understand, because they had their hands in the police's pockets, so I understood that part, but I don't know, just reading it, I was like, whatever. And then Jules, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't love her character.
Stop it. Okay.
I was like, I understood that she really wanted to go see the Ashby house, right? She had seen pictures. She knew how much money like Camden had inherited, but going about it in the way of like messaging his arch nemesis in the family to invite him, and the fact that never even came up, that was a plot hole. Like, why didn't Ben ever say, oh, by the way, your wife was the one that told me to tell you to come here?
Right.
Why didn't he ever bring that up?
Right.
Why are you bringing that up? Is that a TikTok sound? Why you got to bring that up? But like he didn't.
I don't know this TikTok sound. Yeah, keep going.
But that was so weird because he literally said everything.
So
he
true.
tried
And
to kill her, but you're not just gonna like rat her out when you can 30 seconds in. That was weird. And just her, like, she loved the house, but just something about her, I don't know, rubbed me the wrong way. Like, she really, I couldn't get a read on her. She loved her husband, but she really loved this house. And then in the end, she was like, okay, I love my husband so much. Like, I'll give away all this money. I'll give away all this house, all of this house. But I felt like that kind of wasn't true for some reason. She was like, yeah, we can leave. But like, it felt like to me, if it came down to it, she wouldn't actually give all of the money to the family. I don't know. I just got that vibe from her. And then whenever she ended up being a murderer in the end too, I literally, imagine this is my Kindle. I was just like, ugh, another murder. Like, it's not fun anymore.
It was like,
it's not fun anymore. Yeah, like, if all of the answers to your problems are murder, it's not creative, and I was getting tired of it. Okay. So, what I did like...
Oh, you liked something. Okay.
No, I did. It was a good, solid thriller. What I did like was in the end when we found out that Camden knew all of Jules' secrets and he didn't care. He just like really loved her. He knew that she really did love him. And in the end, like, they were a beautiful couple and ended up having like, you know, they got pregnant. Yeah, it was like a beautiful end to their story. Right. I liked that, and I liked when he said, she can come to me with these secrets at any time and I'll be good. But he knew, and he still loved her. Right. Like, that was really sweet in a really messed up way.
I know.
But yeah, that was the part that I liked. I really liked Ruby's like personality aside from the murders. And I really enjoyed when she went, I really enjoyed when she went over to, I think it was Scotland, and she just randomly got an invite from one of her friends that had married like a prince in the Scotland, Highlands or something, and ended up staying in their castle.
And that's where she met the third husband.
Yeah, but just because, and she was just walking around. She was like, I would walk for hours every day.
Honestly, that sounds so idyllic. If I could just walk around for hours.
That's
in a
what I'm
beautiful
saying.
Setting,
and she was just able to leave. Like, when her dad died, she was like, I just needed to get out of the house. I didn't go back to Ashby House for a year. She just went and did whatever she wanted to do. Like, what a beautiful life. And
you know what? I couldn't think. She got away for years at a time and still kept coming back. Like, why are you coming back when you know this place doesn't make you happy? It makes you a ruthless killer. And you were so much enjoying, like, the outdoors, like, wherever you were. Because she went back to Europe, too. Why come back to Ashby House every single time?
Because she killed her first husband in Paris.
Yeah.
So it's not like the house was making her a murderer.
That's true. That's true. But
it just
felt
her.
like anytime that she was there, her head would like start to like get some ideas.
I think that's what Camden was trying to say. Like, the house sucks you back in. Like, you can't get out of it. And whenever you're in that lifestyle, because they said the house was so beautiful, the views, like you just wanted to stay there forever.
Right. Yeah.
And also, one last note before you guess my rating. I just want to say the deadly woods behind their house was a character in itself. We didn't talk about this, but in the book they had said like 2 hikers just went missing in those woods. Obviously, baby Ruby, you know, got lost in the woods, possibly. And then there was like this couple. It was like these 2 people who went. They were hiking. And the fiance, like, he was trying to tie his shoes and slipped on slippery rocks. And then the girl went and got help. And by the time they came, he encountered some sort of wild animal because they said his body, like, was not together. And just so many things happened in those woods.
I think Ben said towards the end of the book, or when he was taking that hike with Jules, or took her out, he was like, we timed it, and it was 49 minutes or something. 49 or 50?
No.
What did he say?
It was 10 minutes, Sarish.
No, it wasn't.
It was 10. That was why it was so shocking, because they were only 10 to 15 minutes from the Ashby house, and that's how crazy the woods got, because you didn't have to walk.
No, but I'm
very
saying
far.
no. Like it took the ambulance to get out to them. It was like 49 or 52 minutes. Like, it's not even the wilderness. Like, it's behind their home, and that's how dangerous it was. And people still, like, kept coming back and getting lost.
Yeah, I just thought it was a character in itself. I honestly could read, like, a whole other book just about the crazy things that happen in those woods. Oh my God, wait, I didn't even mention the craziest part for me.
No. Okay.
Oh my God, I totally forgot. Let me pull out my Kindle, because I highlighted the very first sentence of this book.
Oh.
Okay, and I'll tell you why.
The first sentence of the book.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was so shooketh, and because of this sentence, I wondered if this book was going to turn paranormal.
Oh, okay.
This was the very first sentence of this book. It would probably shock the average American to learn just how little we know about those who go missing in the wilder parts of this great nation of ours. And this was like an essay from someone, and they were talking about just like different mountains, one being the thick forest of the Appalachian Mountains, okay? And this was literally the first 2 pages
Honestly,
of the book.
I would have had to shut the book if it was paranormal. Like, I could not do it.
You don't like paranormal stuff? Didn't you like Verity?
Yes, but it was really hard for me to, like,
get into it?
No. I got into it, but it was hard for me to get away from that. I just kept thinking about the book. I finished it, and I maybe thought about Verity for like a good 2 weeks after. I could not get it out of my head, and I can't do that again.
Gotcha. Okay, so the reason I thought it might go paranormal was because of course, this goes to TikTok, but I'll say it real quick. I got onto the side of TikTok that was about I hope I'm pronouncing this right, the Appalachian Mountains. Yeah. And the people who actually live in those mountains, they talk about how the families who've been there for generations, they believe that those woods have like paranormal activity.
Stop. I'm getting
and
goosebumps.
I will say the things that they say, it can really be explained away, okay? But I was just saying that because those families really believe, like, at night, if you live in those woods, you like cover all of your windows, and like if you hear something, you don't go outside, things like that. And people,
why are you telling me this right now? I don't want to hear it. Okay, I'm not on this side of TikTok for a reason.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to.
I'll
my
stop
phone
at
is
that.
Listening to you.
Yeah, but I went down this rabbit hole, and not very long ago. This was like a few weeks ago.
You go from swamp talk to paranormal activity.
When I realized that, I was like, I really need to get out of TikTok. I'm learning a little too much. And so when
You're
I
getting
saw
into
that,
these niches that honestly, no, I don't know who's posting these videos because they've got some time.
Well, this girl
and you got some time watching all of that.
Yeah, this girl lives in those woods, so that's why she was saying it. And so when I was doing the deep dives, all of that stuff came up. So I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited. either for it to turn paranormal,
Right.
but even if not, I love the idea of like a story taking place in woods where so much can happen.
Right.
And so I was immediately hooked. And so that's why I'm saying
same.
the woods was a character in itself. That part I loved. Every time they talked about it, I was like, I need more.
Yeah.
Okay, so those were my thoughts.
Okay.
And I'm not gonna lie, I don't even fully have a rating. I'm like trying to think of it
Oh my
as
gosh,
you guess
no,
mine.
okay, think about it right now.
I think I have it, but
Okay,
I'm
got it.
kind of scared to say it. Okay,
No, I'm gonna tell you right now what your rating is.
do my Goodreads and personal.
Okay. Goodreads, I think you gave it a 4.
Okay.
And for personal, I think you gave it a 4.2.
Okay. I'm not gonna lie, I have to go and change my Goodreads rating
Oh my gosh, what?
because I gave it a 5 because in the end, remember, plot twist after plot twist.
Yes.
And so I was hyped up on that.
Right.
Now that I'm thinking about it,
You've had a day to like.
yeah, just the pace of like the book.
I think that was my biggest problem with it.
Yeah, I think it probably should have been a 4, but I gave it a 5, so I am gonna leave it. Like the author deserves that. But in my head, my Goodreads rating should have been a 4, and I think my personal rating was a 3.9, like so close to a 4.
Okay.
But
I thought your personal rating would be just a little bit higher.
I was gonna say 4.
Yeah.
But I really, now that we're doing this like book
Sonia,
podcast,
Funny Story was 5 out of 5 for you, and you gave this I'm sorry, you're gonna need to reconsider. People can't.
No, I'm reconsidering
Okay.
Funny Story.
Oh, thank God. Thank
But
gosh.
the reason
I feel
is-
like people will be like, wait, I don't know if I can trust this girl's ratings.
No, but people read like me
hard.
too. Like I feel
know.
like your
You're
friends.
very nice. You're very
No, but your friends like your kind of books. And like because I have a personal bookstagram apart from our podcast.
Yes.
And so those people read my kinds of books, and so they would rate things as I would.
Okay.
So it's not true that like it's very like personal.
So when
dependent.
you're saying that you would change your Funny Story rating, what are you going to change it to? Is it just your
So
personal?
I'm not
No,
my
you're not.
personal.
Yeah, your
I'm
personal,
not
your
changing it
personal.
on
Yeah.
Goodreads.
Yeah. Of
My
course.
personal, I think I gave it a 4.5, but I think I would change it to a 4.
Okay, no, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And honestly, I feel like every author on Goodreads deserves a 5 out of 5 because
They work
it's
so
hard. It's so hard.
Yeah.
It's so hard. So, okay, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it, and I love our ratings, and I'm glad we read it.
Yeah.
I have
Also,
wait, go for it.
I just, after we like finish, I just want to write down like our ratings for Funny Story and this, because like at the end of the year, I want to do like what was our best
book.
Shell Sisters
Yes.
book, what was the lowest, and like things like that. So
Yeah.
watch out
I love
for
it.
December and January, I guess.
Watch out.
But yeah, should we get into some questions?
Oh my gosh.
They're, like,
so
quick.
before you even get into the questions, we've been recording now for 56 minutes. Just an
What?
FYI.
Why does
Because
it
I
feel
tell
like
you,
10 minutes?
When we start talking about
We
books,
don't
we
shut
don't
up.
shut up. We don't
Yeah.
shut up.
Okay, I'll go real quick. What was your favorite plot twist?
Jules and Ruby. Jules being the niece, I think that's what it was.
Great niece, yep.
Great niece of Ruby. I did not see that coming. I did not see that was planted by Ruby to set Camden up for life. I did not see that coming.
Gotcha. Mine was the newspaper clipping of
Oh my
possibly
gosh, yeah. That gives me chills all over
of
again.
possibly baby Ruby,
Ruby.
and the nanny. I was so happy to hear that because when adult Ruby was like talking about how possibly baby Ruby died, I was like, this is horrid. I don't want to read this. And when I saw that, it made me so happy for this like
No, for sure.
cute little girl who got to experience a life outside of this crazy freaking family. So I loved that. Did you have any theories while you were reading the book on like how it would end, like what the plot twist would be? I know there were 50, but like there's usually like one plot twist. Did you think of any?
Honestly, I read this so quick that I had no time to think. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, every twist was coming at me so fast, and I read it in 2 sittings, and quicker than my time that was on my Kindle, which I found out yesterday that the Kindle like times your reading pace and gives
for the first few pages.
For the first few pages and gives you a time on there. But I read it quicker than that because I was like, oh my gosh, this is good. Like, it's coming at me so quickly. So I had no time to think about any theories while I was reading it. But since you had 20 million technical difficulties, what were you thinking about?
I knew that she was going to kill all of her husbands. Like,
that was a given. Like, that, before I started reading this book, there is no way, I'm sorry, like, you're a widower 4 times over, something's fishy.
Yeah, that was a big one. I'm trying to think if I had any other ones. I feel like for Ruby, she kept saying, like, I have this fear that I'm not the real Ruby. I was like, she's not going to be the real Ruby. Like, they're giving us so many clues.
The Ruby. You literally just
I literally was thinking in my head, I was like, why did I go Italian? Yeah. But no, I knew that was coming. I was like, she's not going to be a Ruby.
Yeah. No, that was good.
Yeah. And then, did you have a favorite character?
Jules.
Jules?
Jules was my favorite character.
What?
Listen. She did not come from this world. She didn't understand this world. But she stood up for Camden. She stood up for herself. To these bitches, honestly. I don't even know what our rating is for this podcast, but I'm going to curse. To these McTavishes. I'm sorry. Like, she stood her ground. And I think there's so many times in the book where the family would tell Camden, like, you need not control your wife, but like, your wife is a problem. And he would just be like, is she? And she would speak her mind. And honestly, like, think about someone that's coming from an outside world coming into this, like, how, I don't know if it's like intimidating, but they just like wouldn't know like what's appropriate. And she kept to her own guns, like the way that her personality is outside of this world, kept it consistent, and I loved that. And I think when you were questioning like her love for Camden, I didn't get that. I got that like she was there to protect him. Yes, the intentions coming into it were set up by Ruby and her to kind of plant her as this like great girl who would be perfect for Camden and keep him like kind of in that world and make him go back for this date. But when 10 years with Camden without even going to Ashby House, thinking about the money like actually coming in, 10 years is a long time. She loved him. That's true. That's a long time to know that your husband has $100 million in the bank. And you do nothing about it. Okay. You know? Mm-hmm. 10 years. So I don't know why you were questioning that.
No, you're
time
so
tells
right.
all. You know? This is the point.
You changed my mind.
I love it.
Okay.
What was yours?
Like, honestly, I don't really have one. If I had to choose, it would be Ruby.
I knew it! You talked so much crap about Ruby. Now you're coming for Ruby's Rubies, all right?
Aside from the murders.
Sonia.
I really liked her personality.
Her personality was the absolute best. I'm sorry. Like, so funny.
And she made her own money. She was like
smart.
invested in stocks that she just liked the name of. So like that was funny. Like
Xerox. But investing in the clubs, I think that was smart. Like the Miami ones, she was nowhere near Miami. I don't even know how she got that opportunity. But
those so random.
Girl had those connections and she took advantage.
Yeah. If I had to say, it would be her just because of her funny personality, but.
Okay, wait, now I have to know, because we're talking about Ruby and like her personality and just Ruby in general. Like, I'm so excited to hear who you think. Let's talk about the 3 main characters, Ruby, Jules, and Camden. Mm-hmm. If they made a series or a movie out of this, which is happening so much.
Oh my God.
I need to know who your people are.
I literally just realized I wrote this down and it's on my phone
that we're recording from. But Sonia, you know.
I have it in my brain.
Okay.
Okay, the
But
actor
prefacing
Camden.
this by saying before we recorded the podcast, we were eating Chick-fil-A chicken nuggets, which we both realized we never actually get. We just needed something of substance before we started recording. And I was giggling about who I chose as my
totally
people.
forgot.
And she was like, I know. I know exactly who it is that you picked. And now I would like you to tell me because
You
why
were laughing
are you...
so hard, and I was like, she literally doesn't know any actors. Like, what?
Yeah, I had to Google them.
Yeah, I was like, what could she be laughing about? And I think I know. I want you to go first, and I want you to say the name, and then I'll tell you who I thought. If it's not right, then I'll tell you who I thought it was.
Okay. So, should I do Camden first? Because
Yes,
that's what
I need to know.
Okay. Miles Teller.
Okay.
Crickets.
Like, that was so the opposite of, like, what I thought you were going to say. Why were you laughing so hard when you
Because
found
of his
Miles
wife
Teller?
and Taylor, like, I just...
Okay, my thing was Taylor related on the opposite end. I thought you were going to say
Ryan
Joe Alwyn.
No, honey, I wouldn't even know that name. Well, who cares?
Because we were saying he was, like, dirty, blonde hair, and...
Oh, yeah, no.
Oh, my God. Like, okay, I was there. I was close. Taylor Swift relations, just like on the opposite ends.
Okay, yes.
Okay, who was your Jules?
Okay, and I said that because he is unassumingly like handsome and has the vibe to him, but I think he's played roles also where he was like a shy kid, and so I could see him as both the Camden in the book as a child in the middle, like where he's fighting for not having this estate, and then at the very end when you can finally see his personality with his wife and soon-to-be kid.
Okay,
so that's why
who's your
Miles
Jules?
Teller. My Jules only because it's not the vibe that like I matched up because I don't know this actress's vibe. It's the vision that I had of Jules in my mind.
Okay.
And I picked Amanda Seyfried. Is that your Jules? No, stop.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I don't know why I'm squealing.
Dead.
I'm dead. No,
I literally, what did I say? We were eating chicken nuggets, and I was like, Sarah, what if we have like the same person?
Same person.
Oh my God, I'm dead.
No, I'm dead. But honestly, that is the perfect Jules.
I can't with us.
We told you that we have the same brain and we think so alike. And this just proves
Wait.
that. Amanda Seyfried.
Okay, now
Is it
I need.
Seyfried? What is
I
it?
think it's Amanda Seyfried.
Okay, and then who was your Camden?
No. Who's your Ruby?
No, but tell me now. I need to know your
No.
Camden.
I need to know your Ruby because I think maybe we might have the same person.
Demi Moore.
Oh, that's good.
She is.
You
sharp.
did way better than what
She
I thought
is
you
sharp.
would do.
I'm sorry, like Demi Moore. She comes off as like someone who would have an estate like this and actually make it flourish with her own like street smarts.
Mm-hmm.
And when she wears those aviators with just like her prescription, like when she wears those glasses, I could see her having that sense of humor that's so sharp, conniving, and just hits, you know?
I know what you're talking
Demi
about.
Moore. I'm sorry, I killed this.
You did amazing.
Sonia didn't think that I could do it. I was sitting there like Googling who could be this person, you know?
Yeah.
But no, I think I knocked her out of the park. So
I'm really nervous
Demi
for mine.
Moore for my Ruby, Amanda Seyfried for my Jules, and Miles Teller as my Camden.
That's beautiful.
I know.
Wow.
Snaps.
Okay. Mine,
Okay.
I skewed a little older because of a good reason.
Okay.
Because in the book, Camden had like two different eyes. Like one was blue and one was brown. Mm-hmm. So I literally Googled actors with like different colored eyes.
Yeah.
And one of them was Henry Cavill. Cavill?
Who's that?
Google it, you'll know him.
Okay.
You don't know his name, but you'll know him. And he has, I wrote it on my phone, so I don't know the exact word. It's like sectoral hematoma.
Oh, he's like a, not Bond, what is it called? It's like Superman? Spider-Man?
Something like that in the Marvel universe.
Oh, yeah. No, that's good. I could see that.
Yeah, and then him with Amanda Seyfried.
Yeah.
Isn't that cute? And
I like
in the
that.
book,
I think Miles Teller's better, but yeah, he's good.
the age is better, but like the eyes, and also Miles Teller. I feel like for me, I did kind of want it to skew older because I couldn't imagine like a 30-year-old like doing all this and like fighting for like like. But Amanda Seyfried, like they described her as basically a blonde bombshell. Like every time they saw her, everyone would be like,
whoa.
"Wow, you really like punched above your weight, huh?" And she also, I googled actresses who are blonde with green eyes because that's what Jules was, and that's what she is.
Yeah, no, beautiful. I love it.
My Ruby. Do you want to guess?
No,
I'll
because
just
honestly,
tell you.
I don't know people's names.
Okay, it's Kelly Rutherford from Gossip Girl.
Okay.
She would literally use her own closet in this film.
1000%.
I'm sure she has a Dior gown and a Pucci dress.
You know what, Sonia? I think we both did good. They're a completely different vibe, but Kelly also.
And
Kelly. Oh my gosh.
She's very like old money, like
yes,
and she just already has the vibe in her. She doesn't even need to act,
No, in the book,
Beautiful.
I don't remember. Beautiful. I don't remember the color of Ruby's hair. Was it dark or was it blonde?
I honestly don't know, but if I'm not mistaken, I could be so wrong. I think Kelly Rutherford naturally is a brunette, but she like dyes her hair blonde. So I thought she could go either way. Like whichever way would suit her.
Yeah.
And I believe in the book she has green eyes, but I don't think Kelly Rutherford has green eyes, but I was like, whatever. And like I could see a blonde Kelly Rutherford being related to Amanda Seyfried.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's how I went about it.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
I think we did great.
Yeah, I think so too. Okay, wait. Speaking, are we done with the Heiress? Do you have anything else to say?
I'm good.
Okay. You haven't taken this recommendation yet, but Nobody Wants This on Netflix.
Oh my god.
You guys, I'm not done with it yet, but I think I'm on episode 7. I know I need to get closer to the mic. I'm on episode 7 of Nobody Wants This, and it is phenomenal. It is sharp humor, and it's so witty. I'm obsessed. And the fact that Erin Foster wrote it, and it's loosely based on her life and her partner, who's also Jewish. She's not a rabbi, but he's Jewish. Loosely based on her life. It is absolute perfection, and
It's on Netflix?
It's on Netflix. I'm so obsessed with her writing to the point where I'm going to send her a message this evening and say that she needs to write books, because that kind of humor, it's smart humor. It's nothing that's like so cheesy and gimmicky. It's so sharp. It's such smart humor that I think if she put this in writing, like in books, it would be wild. And I'm obsessed, thoroughly going to be binging the next 3 episodes over the weekend. I cannot wait. I actually cannot wait to watch it. I have a friend who finished the series and she's going to rewatch it because it's that good. So if you haven't started yet, watch Nobody Wants Us on Netflix by Erin Foster, and I think it was also produced by her sister Sarah Foster, and we love a sister duo. So I need you to start it because I want to recap it on the next episode.
I will. I'm not gonna lie. I have so much like on my content plate. I have so many books. I'm rewatching Gilmore Girls.
Okay,
and
but
I'm so
you don't
into
need
that
to.
right now.
No, you don't need to rewatch Gilmore Girls. I think you need.
No, I need to.
And Sonia, I never recommend TV shows because nothing really catches my eye. But I think you need to watch this.
I'm just not. I will.
You will. Okay.
Just not while everyone else is watching it.
Okay, got it. I'm in the fold.
I'll come back to you next year.
Okay, I'm in the fold with this one, and I'm keeping current, and I'm gonna recap it on the next episode, even if Sonia hasn't watched it.
That's totally fine.
That's totally fine. Well, you guys, I think that's all.
Yeah, so this is coming out, if you're watching this, the day that it drops, it's a Thursday. Sarah, what date? October?
Thursday, October 3rd, and It'll be on YouTube and all streaming platforms, the Spotify, Apple Podcasts.
But if they're listening, they already know that. But the next episode will be dropping October 17th, I believe, which is the
second?
October 17th.
Whatever.
It's a Thursday.
We're going to be releasing episodes now every other Thursday, so just watch out for that. You can follow us on Instagram at Shelf Sisters Podcast, on TikTok at Shelf Sisters, and until then...
Wait, I just want to say, the next episode, it's not going to be like a book episode, it's going to be a book-ish episode, so we'll probably talk about just like Halloween things, like...
fall things, what we're up to, and... Nobody Wants This on Netflix. Sorry, I had to add that in there again. So, until then, officially.
Yes.
Goodbye.
Bye.